Senator Leyonhjelm.
Thank you, Mr. President. My question is to the Minister representing the Treasurer, Senator Cormann. In your budget, you proposed various tax increases. You proposed to increase tax on super by nearly $3 billion by 2020. Your backbenchers objected, including George Christensen, who threatened to cross the floor. You then revised your plan so as to increase tax on super by more than $3 billion by 2020. Your backbenchers were elated. George Christensen even called a press conference to declare he was 100% supportive of the revised plan. Does your party room support increased taxation, or do they just have difficulties adding up?
The Minister for Finance representing the Treasurer, Senator Cormann.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I thank Senator Leyonhjelm for his question. The coalition government always supports lowering the overall tax burden in the economy where that is possible. And indeed, this morning the Senate voted to reduce the tax burden for 3.1 million hardworking Australians on average full-time wages. And incidentally, the net effect of decisions taken by the government in the 2016-17 budget is a reduction in the overall tax burden in the economy by about $1.2 billion over the forward estimates. This is clearly spelled out on page 6 of Statement 4 in Budget Paper 1. As highlighted in the budget documents, when you exclude tax integrity measures, the 2016-17 budget reduced the tax burden by around $1.9 billion over the forward estimates. The government did put forward in the budget, in the 2016-17 budget, a set of reforms to make our superannuation tax arrangements fairer and more sustainable, and in relation to less than 10% of that overall package, after consultation and after feedback in particular from Liberal and National members and senators, the government made some adjustments in relation to less than 10% of that original package. We believe that the package that is now on the table, no longer proceeding with the 500,000 lifetime non-concessional cap, but instead reducing the non-concessional cap per year from $180,000 down to $100,000 from 1 July 2017, makes the superannuation tax arrangements even fairer, more flexible and more sustainable. These changes better support the aspiration of Australians to be self-sufficient in retirement. And of course, the government does not shy away from ensuring that the cost of making these adjustments are fully offset so that the effect on the budget bottom line is not a detraction to the budget bottom line. Therefore, we will not proceed with the budget measure to harmonise contribution rules for those...
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the questions expired. Senator Leyonhjelm, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. In your 2015 budget, you proposed a 32% tax on worker holiday makers from the first dollar earned. Your backbenchers objected. You then announced a revised working holiday maker reform package plan that collects even more revenue. Your backbenchers were elated. Does your party room support increased taxation, or do they just have difficulties adding up?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As I've indicated before, not only does the government always support lowering the overall tax burden in the economy where that is possible, that is also our track record, in particular if you look at the most recent budget, where the net effect of policy decisions on the revenue side of the budget is a reduction in the overall tax burden on the economy. But of course, that doesn't mean that we don't pursue reforms to improve the tax mix, to ensure that the tax system is more growth-friendly and also fairer and more sustainable. We did take a set of proposals in relation to working holiday makers. We put them forward in 2015. In 2015, there were some concerns raised in relation to the original measures. The government listened to industry and stakeholder concerns, and also very carefully to the strong representations of Liberal and National members and senators on how the proposed reforms could be improved in a way that doesn't
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the question has expired. Senator Leyonhjelm, final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Minister, your new package also imposes a 95% tax grab on the super of departing working holiday makers. Minister, why not be consistent and make it 100%? Your party room backbenchers will be elated.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This measure was part of the package to help offset changes that the government has made to the working holiday maker measure that I have previously outlined. A withdrawal from superannuation is required to occur before the departing Australia superannuation payments tax can be assessed. Ensuring that the departing Australia superannuation payment tax is not 100% provides an incentive for working holiday makers to withdraw superannuation rather than it simply becoming unclaimed superannuation and return to government in full after a number of years. This is good for the government and it's also good for working holiday makers.
Thank you, Minister.